Glenvar's a community that is a family. Some people go to school, and when you're there, you have your school friends and you have your teachers, and you leave, and school is just a blip on the radar. But when you come from Glenvar, Glenvar is not school, Glenvar is family. Because here at school, we take very seriously the business of teaching them our subject matter, but teaching them how to be good people, how to be good citizens, how to be respectful.
Hey, I'm Ross Copperman. I was a student at Glenvar High School. Now I'm here building a studio with SongFarm. This is so important to me because I never feel like I had the opportunity or the tools to create when I was a kid, and I can't imagine what I would have done if I would have had this stuff when I was this age. I would have given anything, and I just think it's truly a beautiful thing to the kids that are interested in it to be able to have access to this. To maybe they'll discover a talent they didn't know they had. Maybe, you know. And so I think it's just it's a tool to inspire and plant seeds and grow the next generation of creatives. So Reed and I have gone back so far together. I got the opportunity to produce Dierks Bentley about 8 years ago. He was one of my heroes. He mixed all these Grammy-winning records, and he's become one of my best friends. And when the idea for it wasn't SongFarm yet, but the idea to build a studio at Glenvar came about, he's the first person I called.
How we ended up at Glenvar High School was that this was the high school that Ross Copperman went to. He played football here, he acted in plays here, he was in the band here, and his teacher he stayed in contact with brought a couple of students out to Nashville on a road trip. So they went to Ross's studio and they went to Ocean Way, and they saw all this stuff and they were like, man, this is really amazing. It would be incredible if we could do this. And Ross looked at him and said, you can do this. If I can do it, you can do it. And that's when he called me and said, well, why don't we set up a way to get the kids at my high school, give them an opportunity to be able to do some of this stuff. And we said, all right, fine. And a week later, it was SongFarm was happening.
So I went to the ACM Lifting Lives about almost a year ago now, and kind of ran this idea by them. And I remember we were on the red carpet at the ACMs in Vegas, and a couple of the board members came by, and I said, God, I just grabbed them. I was like, I got this crazy idea. I want to put a studio in my high school. I think it'd be a really cool thing for the ACMs to be part of, and they were so excited. And I was actually at the ACM Lifting Lives camp about to go in and write the song with the campers, and they had all these cameras around, and they pulled me aside, and they got this gigantic check out for $10,000, and they handed it to me and said, Ross, this is for your studio at your high school. And I just started bawling. I couldn't believe they did this. So it was the coolest thing in the world for them to step up and make this a reality, and then I felt this obligation to, okay, wow, they stepped up. We got to go crush this, and that's when I reached out to Reed and Elena.
I got involved in SongFarm because two very smart, very creative individuals came up with an idea and said, let's build a studio in a high school. There was a lot of things that I did scurrying around to pull it together. But I think the biggest thing is, having two big dreamers like Reed and Ross. They come up with all these ideas. And then you have someone who's so driven, like Steve Franco. He asked local businesses for support. He asked a school for support. He went out and asked for additional grants for security cameras. I've never seen a man more driven to make something happen, and his ideas kept getting bigger and bigger, and he kept chasing them and making them happen.
So in the studio, I use all kinds of gear from Universal Audio, Sweetwater, SE, Isotope. These companies make this awesome gear that makes it easy to create, and that's what it's all about for me, is creation. And thankfully, they've been so gracious to give to SongFarm Studios and allow these students to now have the access to the same gear that I'm using making records every day of my life. They actually have a better studio than I have, which is hilarious. It's so cool how the Roanoke community has stepped up for this and just given. So many companies, Grand Furniture gave so much furniture, and Chick-fil-A gave us lunch. Comfort Suites gave us rooms. I feel like there's so many brands that have just come together to support this, because it's just the coolest thing. It's definitely the coolest thing I've ever done in my career and life to be able to do something like this.
I think the greatest part of a teacher's job is when you get the opportunity, once students leave your school, then they go on to a college or university, or they go into the military, they go into the job sector and grow into adults, is when you maintain that connection. Because as a high school teacher, I spend 4 years with these students, investing in them from a very early age through graduation, and you hope that you give them some of the skills that they need to go out and be successful adults. And I don't think that there's any greater pleasure for a teacher than to really see their students go and be successful. So when those students decide to turn around and give back, that's just the pinnacle in education, to have that opportunity.
Let's officially launch SongFarm Studio.